Hi, Santari.
Hello there, Cezarina.
And myself, I'm Cezarina Trone, and we are broadcasting here with me in Cincinnati and Santari Green in UK, Burgess Hill. I am so delighted to be back. And so are you, Santari, because we have a really wonderful topic to explore today, something that you're very passionate about.
Absolutely. Can't wait to tell you about it.
Yes. It's all the genius voice, the Centauri calls it. And as I've known it in the past, in some of his offerings and teleclasses, it is all about the power we carry in our voice and the way that that can affect us at many levels and affect everyone listening. So I'd like to introduce my co-host today. I'm going to be interviewing Santari on his upcoming teleclass, Genius Voice.
Oh, thanks, Cezarina, for that introduction. Well, this is a 4-week teleclass. It starts on October the 8th, and then it goes October 15th, 22nd, and 29th. The details are on a couple of websites, which I'll give later. It's called Genius Voice, and it's really a follow-on from a very successful teleclass that I did with Solera, my wife, around genius writing. And we found that people really liked the energetic feel of what we were doing. So this was quite a natural follow-on from that. Um, the Genius Voice telecast itself really, I guess, is composed of a couple of elements. One of them is about people wanting to get their voice heard and their message out into the world. So it will address those particular areas of people's interest. And the other area is about how do you actually modulate your voice to be able to carry certain qualities that give certain effects. So, for instance, can your voice be really clear and powerfully evocative, and allow people to really get into this state of being able to understand what you're saying without necessarily listening to all the intellectualizing and complexities of language. Can people really pick up on certain clues in voice that give them this feeling of they're not only just listening to you, but they feel they're in the same room with you. They feel that they're so much attuned to you that they understand you. It's very much about people being able to listen as well as people being able to speak. I think the two go hand in hand. And of course, there's a little bit of science to go with this too. How do we be able to vocalize something, produce a sound that carries certain resonances that people are able to pick up on, and somehow they hear the sound pressure, and it gets conveyed into certain signals that the brain recognizes, interprets, and does all sorts of amazing stuff with it. I'm not sure that we understand all of this completely in any real sense, but to get a flavor of what's involved, I think is very useful. And so therefore it's in the sense of an exploration. And it's also to be able to get the energetic vibe associated with what we consider to be the voice that we all want to have, and perhaps we haven't quite got there yet. You know, what is all that really about? So it will be as much as people asking questions, as much as my giving some sort of understanding about what's involved. So I'm sure you've got some questions of your own that you'd like to ask.
I know that every time you lead a teleclass or you're even in our Google Hangouts, every so often you guide us in a journey. And for me, it has been always powerful to listen to how your tone of voice changes during that time. Um, I don't know if you'll feel comfortable to try a minute of that or a couple minutes of that. They're usually short journeys, they don't have to be long, but just to explore, like you said, the qualities of what the power of this genius voice journey can bring us. Um, and it's all done in the moment spontaneously, as we are doing now. We never prepare a script for our show. We show up and we step into our own presence, and we allow that presence to speak with us, through us, in us, and so forth. So, is there like a exercise or a guiding, possibly a moment where we could experience it with you, Santari? I know you're always ready, aren't you?
Nothing like being put on the spot.
Yeah.
Well, that's sometimes where the best stuff comes anyway, when you don't have to prepare and you just initiate something. Well, let's have an intention. Let's say that I could thrill you with the whole power of this teleclass in just a couple of minutes. And let's say it's possible, and let's say that it maybe is already happening, that I don't really have to do anything myself, but that you get the feel of the power of the energy field. So let's just line up together with an intention that you be powerfully moved by this teleclass, the Genius Voice, and that it's already working its magic with you. And you get a sense that it isn't just about my speaking, but it's about equally as what's moved in you. How do you respond to my voice? What does the energy field feel like when we talk about something that's genius communication? How evocative is it? It's not just about words, as we've talked about previously in other shows. It's not just about you listening to what's being spoken, but it's about how you interact, how you go into a state of listening and feeling that something is being done in that moment, something is moving between the two of us. And I think it's this power to be able to communicate on different levels that allows us to do things that ordinarily you'd wonder, well, how is that possible? How can two people really just spend a couple of moments together, really not say anything, and yet still have an experience? And that's the magic of it. I'm not saying that, I'm not going to say too much about that, but that you actually do have an experience. And there's something in the quality of the voice itself that enables that experience to perhaps be enhanced, to be magnified in some way, and that it's really made real for you in a physical sense as well as in a non-physical sense. So, what did you experience?
As I'm listening, and I was listening to your words, I dropped. What happens for me immediately with the voice change, with the tone, there's a rhythm, internal rhythm, and an inner music that I step in. So I start slowing down. I notice my breath, and I deeply go into this part of myself that I guess everyone could call it their inspiration, their core self, their genius self, that space that is very easy to connect to, and yet, we don't do it all the time. But it takes us right there. It can be the platform, the foundation from which we write, from which we get inspired, from which we speak. It takes us, and it's that we spoke in some of other teleclasses that you have had with Solera, this inner marriage that happens. So there's this, this part of you that comes back to that inner self, and that inner marriage, that beautiful falling in love starts to be felt, the intimacy. And you feel very much at ease. That's my experience. I just feel like I become one with my inner child. My inner child is always there. It's hugging me. It's lovely. It's delightful. And it's safe. And I think that's what people need to understand, that a lot of times there's this tendency to run out of yourself and go spread out and go chase after whatever is out there outside of you. And really the power is to come back in and experience this um, this unification, I might say, or inner marriage, as you have spoken of uh, the inspiration and the one being inspired, and the piece of inspiration account. All of the pieces are there. The voice itself, and the one who is um, speaking, and the power behind the voice, and the inspiration that comes through the voice. All of that is one there in that space. So if that makes any sense, you're sort of asking me in the moment what I feel, and that's what is taking me to this place of quietness and delight and joy, and yet it's very stable, very um, easy to be there, very nurturing.
I think I should hire you as my manager. You're right. It is that quality of really just sinking straight down into something and feeling soothed and nourished, but not drowsy necessarily, not as if you're just going off to sleep, but that you really get a sense of we're completely at ease with each other, as well as you being completely at ease with yourself, and I'm in ease with myself. And that I think is where a lot of communication happens when you are not in the busyness, but you're in the stillness. And in that still, sort of still state, you're aware of a lot of activity. You are then able to verbalize that activity as well, because that's where your focus is. Your focus has dropped into that area of awareness. And I think it's a very powerful place to do anything from.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that probably gives you a good taste of what the teleclass is about. I said it's on October the 8th is the start date, and for the next 4 weeks, it's at 5 o'clock UK time, 9 o'clock Pacific time, and I think it will be noon Eastern Standard Time.
And we could take a look at your website, or one of the websites at least, where people could go and be connecting with the teleclass and register. I know one of them is one of the websites is the Visionary Network.
Yep, there we go. Visionary Network, global teleclasses. You can just see it on the left-hand side there. It says Genius Voice with Santari Green. You can sign up there, pay by PayPal. Another place will also be on my own website. Let me just see if I can pull that one up as well.
Yeah.
There we go, Santari Green. I'll have a selection on there devoted to teleclasses, and you'll be able to find out more information. So there we go.
Anything else that our listeners or viewers might benefit from before they sign up? I know that this was plenty as a little
taster.
Preview, taster, yeah, sampler. But anything else you wish to add?
Well, I think people can go back to other Google Hangouts that we've done and see how we've actually conducted the conversations with people, because we put people at their ease, you and I think you're very gifted in this respect just as much as I am. And we enable people to really give of themselves, that, as you say, they go into that space with us, and they start to perhaps speak in a way that they hadn't thought that they would do, they hadn't been prepared for, and we make it easy for people. And I think that's all part of getting people to really communicate what they really want to talk about, and perhaps they don't often find the words to, but we enable that space to be prepared, in which people really understand that it's not just about the words, it's about the what moves us in that moment. And somehow it inspires and fires and initiates something within us that we feel almost impelled to start a torrent of conversation. And we start to be moved um, by something which is really charming in its own way, and it has its own voice, and it expresses itself through us. And I find it sometimes very interesting to put new language to this. And I think the language is very often the ability to be able to surrender completely into the moment and to allow something new to be evoked that quite often doesn't have its own name yet, and it doesn't have its own sense of self, but we can give it a sense of self. And I
Mm.
think that's part of the intention of the teleclass also, that we take time to find out what's being birthed and what wants to be given a voice and what wants perhaps to be given its own space with us.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where the beauty of the exploration lies too.
Yeah, as you're speaking again, I'm going to give everyone a taste of what I'm experiencing. As you're speaking just now, a whole idea, a poem is coming to me, which I will probably be writing after we say goodbye. And what the title, what came to me was the unspoken and the unwritten. um, you know, the unspoken and the unwritten energy of the moment is so delightful, and just like the screen is flickering right now, it's a response to it's a response to, how do we notice our field of energy around us and emanating from within us, and how do we notice the interaction and the joy of the blending and the dancing of that which we are, the pure delight of the light and the inspiration that comes from the coming, that comes from the alchemy of two or more coming together and a group exploring this. So it sounds beautiful and amazing and magical, and the new words will come as we, I'm sure, as you um, start the teleclass, and I'm sure we will get together again and speak about what has happened, and possibly even invite, that's another idea, invite someone from the teleclass to share with us how have they been transformed.
Beautiful. There we go. The poet alchemist has arisen in Cezarina once again.
So it is working. For everyone watching, this is the power of the genius voice. So you see it in action. You see
Yes,
it
you
in
see it in
action,
action.
and you see the inspirations as they emerge from within us.
There you go.
So enjoy and come to uh, join Santari on October 8th. Sign up on Visionary Network or on SantariGreen.com, and it's as easy as that.